Over the past few months, I have discussed in depth about all the different challenges I've been facing in the various aspects of my life, and how pretty much everything came crumbling down and I rebuilt from scratch. And in the process, I learned to become a coach as well as I built a course to help other people transform their lives using the Kaleidoscope shifting method, which is something I developed through my own experience. And a big part of that are these books that I was reading during the period. And so I thought I would share those top five books, which are absolutely transformational for anyone looking for any sort of help. Hello, world. It is me again. And today I'm going to be talking about these five books that were absolutely my backbone during the worst of the times that I was overcoming. And I'm not going to be talking about any direct spiritual or religious texts for this topic, but rather more broader topics that can really help you regardless of what situation you're going through and give you a broader perspective on things in general, I guess. So, yeah, let's dive into the books. All right, number one on this list is a book I already spoken about. It's called Connected to Goodness by Dave Meltzer, who is a self-made billionaire, and it's an autobiography that combines techniques and methods that can help you with business and finances. Personally, I got to meet him on a podcast shoot, and that's how I got that book, and I'm so glad I did because I really had to open it when I needed it because it was not really as much about building a business and making money as it actually is about being a good person. Of course, there's a lot of different methods and techniques and experiences that he shares that will help you get a bigger perspective of how to run a business or how to make a sale. But I think the big picture is that he says, regardless of what aspect in your life you're being challenged with, is when you think from a place of what he calls the goodness connected to goodness, or, from a place of doing good for yourself and others, then you will be bound to enter a path of success. And also, regardless of whether you're facing problems with your family, your friends, your business, your finances, whatever it is, he says the first thing you gotta do is take care of yourself, and then everything else will start taking care of itself. So I highly recommend this book for anyone who's starting off a career, trying to, struggling with some sort of business or finance related, career related stuff. It's great. It just teaches you to become this amazing person over just chasing a job or money. All right, the second book on this list is The Artist's Way. It's actually been gaining a lot of attention on the internet more recently, but it's from the 90s and it's by Julia Cameron. It's a great book that talks about, just various development of various methods to help yourself nurture the creative in you. What I love is she talks about how, by nature, we're all creatives, and that's something that I've talked about several times too. And, one of the things she says is to nurture it. She talks about what she calls the morning pages. And, I know a lot of friends who've used the method other than myself as well. And the key is, she says you write 3 pages every morning, no matter what, just write whatever's in your head. Don't filter it, don't edit it. That way you start decluttering your mind. In my personal experience, even if it's just 1 page or even a paragraph every morning, it does help you. If it's something that you don't actually do by nature, then please try it out, because the more you try to write and journal out those thoughts that, just linger around, especially in the morning, the lesser burden and weight of thoughts you're carrying through the day, which gives you more space to think fresh ideas or focus on things that are more productive. So yeah, that's definitely on top of my list, but also because she, like many thinkers, does say that the process of both creating and healing is a non-linear journey, and I think that's absolutely true. So yeah. All right, speaking of non-linearity, number three on this list is a psychological book called Running on Empty by Dr. Jonas Webb. It's an amazing book that was recommended to me by my therapist, and it talks about the effects of emotional neglect as a child. It's she digs deep based on her own experience and her clients, and just both on both sides. Kids who grew up to be affected as well as parents who raised kids, and kind of draws out these beautiful patterns of uh, archetypes that exist within parents who are emotionally neglectful. And the key in this is to understand that emotional neglect can happen to and by anyone. It doesn't mean that necessarily the parent is a bad person, or doesn't mean that they choose to treat the child differently. They could be the nicest people in the world, but unintentionally cause emotional neglect to a child. And there's so many layers to what emotional neglect looks like, what a neglectful parent can look like, and what kind of effects that has on the child for the rest of their life. So if you're someone who likes to dig into, psychological things, or, just want to go back to your past and break certain patterns and heal through it, then I highly recommend this book. There's also a part two to it, which is great, but this is definitely a winner in my books. All right, so number four is it's a bit personal, and it is called Reaching Beyond. It's a dialogue between jazz musicians Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter, and the Buddhist philosopher Daisaku Ikeda. And they talk about it's all about improvisations on jazz and Buddhism, as they call the subtitle. But they talk about different aspects of art and culture and spirituality, and it's really not as much about just the Buddhist perspective as it is about the similarity of all these different things. There are some great anecdotes and stories that each of them share. Like Herbie Hancock talks about this moment where, when he was playing with Miles in his early career, he played a wrong note or something, and Miles Davis, instead of getting freaked out, actually took that and improvised on it and made something else out of it. And then Daisaku Ikeda goes on to talk about how that is very similar to the concept of a mentor-disciple relationship in Buddhism, and so on and so forth. So there's like these beautiful ways of combining art, spirituality, and just being a good human. That's all discussed with these people. So I do highly recommend that. Even if you're not interested in spirituality or Buddhism or anything specific, it's great. If you're an artist, especially, it's a great book to kind of learn and take some notes from. All right, so the last book on this list is Buddha and the Quantum by Samuel Avery, Hearing the Voice of Every Cell. It's an incredible book that I happened to stumble upon way back in 2015 or something, but never actually got to reading it or understanding it entirely. But when I went back to it, it blew my mind. It's really less about, again, spirituality or religion, but it's more about the observations of this quantum physicist from the perspective of understanding Buddhism. This one's more about Tibetan Buddhism, but he does try to dig into the similarities of a lot of the Buddhist observations and what we know of the world through the eyes of quantum physics and quantum mechanics. Like the idea of a kalpa, which is something that baffles a lot of people. He compares that to what they call, the smallest particle in the smallest quantum particle and things like that. And I think Amazon rates it really high, and I think one of the reviews talks about how this is literally the only book in that subject. I don't know if that is valid till this day, but it is definitely eye-opening. It's definitely something to really take in, and personally, I also tried to practice a lot of what I was learning through those moments of observation. It, it is just amazing, and it really does open your mind to how little we know and how amazingly connected everything is. All right, guys. So that were the top five books. I've actually left the links to all of them below as well if you'd like to check them out. I highly recommend them if you're going through a process of transformation or self-discovery. And please check out my course Kaleidoscope shifting as well. The links below. The first module is free, and you can buy the rest of the course if that's something that resonates with you. I also do one-on-one coachings to be able to help people, especially creatives and entrepreneurs and self-employed people like myself who are going through various challenges in different aspects of life. Because the biggest thing that I've learned from all these books and my own experience is that regardless of which part of your life is struggling, the overall transformation and change needs to happen, on the inside. And these are just different reflections that we can use to be able to capitalize and recognize what we need to do. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and as always, please comment. And I appreciate everything that you guys do and say, and just I love hearing from you guys. And yeah, and if there's anything, always feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to making the next set of videos for you guys. Thank you so much. I will see you again.